computer is charging over there.
I got it on here. You shared the file with me.
Okay.
Everyone in the service industry has a story. Crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring you those tales from behind the bar. My name is Carl. I've been doing this for 13 years, give or take. I enjoy it.
My name's Riley. I bartended for just a little bit, and I enjoyed it while I did.
And now what?
And now I just sit at the bar.
Enjoying beverages.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Actually, that's not even really that true anymore either, is it?
No,
now
not
we
really.
just come and make drinks at home.
Yeah. Hey, it's cheaper on our wallets.
Man.
And we make better drinks.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. So, on this lovely little podcast, we read stories off the internet about the hospitality industries through the eyes of the guest or the bartender. Then we talk about it. Should have been changed differently? Was it handled perfectly? Who the asshole is, who the hero is, and then we rate that story 1 through 5. 1 being your average, your run-of-the-mill story. 5 being a unique situation where we're like, what the fuck did we just hear? And I hope that never happens to me. Or maybe I really hope that happens to me. So, yes, that is what we're doing. And then since we are adults who like to partake in the adult beverage,
yes.
What are we drinking tonight?
You are drinking an old fashioned made with Old Granddad 114 and cinnamon demerara. Are you drinking it or spilling it on yourself?
I'm allowed to do both. Thank you very much. I'm a grown-ass man and I do what I want.
And I am drinking an NA coffee Negroni.
Yes. So how do you make that?
I used Ritual Zero Proof Gen Alternative.
Yep.
And then I used the Liars brand Italian orange liqueur and coffee liqueur alternatives.
Is that the first time we cracked open the coffee one?
No, it was open.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've made you an NA coffee Negroni before.
Probably. I don't remember. Must have got hammered that night. But no, seriously, both those are good companies. So if you're looking for some NA replacements just to change things up, or if you want to just do some...
When you're still struggling with your hangover from 4 days ago.
Yep. They're both good. Go check them out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start this one off if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. I do not believe I've read this story. I should be able to remember every story we read so far, but...
Yeah, you might want to start keeping track of that.
Yeah. I mean, I edit these things, so
I made myself a spreadsheet.
Yeah. This one says posted 30 days ago, so I know I haven't read this one in that time. So it's in the Bartenders subreddit under the user is now deleted. That's our favorite user. They have the most stories.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm. All right. So posted 30 days ago. I just had to fire my friend. This last Saturday night, my newish coworker was sneaking 1,800 shots all night. And about 1 a.m., I watched him take 2 shots back to back. What?
I was thinking about the number, not the fact that 1,800 is a tequila.
Oh, right.
And I was like, is this an exaggeration?
Is he dead? Okay. So 1,800 is a shot of tequila. It's not a great tequila. It's just a brand name of tequila.
Yes, and that makes much more sense than the number of shots that he was sneaking.
Right. So now we're all caught up.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Let's start over. This last Saturday night, my newish coworker was sneaking 1,800 shots all night. About 1 a.m., I watched him take 2 shots back to back. I called him over to me and started ripping him a new one. He just slurred his words saying, "Bro, I'm not even that fucked up," as he's falling over. I immediately transferred his open checks to me and clocked him out. He ran him back, grabbed a bunch of shit, and started bringing it out to the bar while dropping half of it along the way. I pushed him back away from the customers, and he yelled, "Bro, stop embarrassing me." I finally got him to sit at the bar, and 30 seconds later, he passed out. Since I know the family well, I called his mom at 2 a.m. to come and get him. She couldn't wake him up, so she literally dragged him to the car, apologized to me, and left. I then stayed and cleaned until about 5 in the morning. The next day, he Venmoed me $50 and said sorry. I sent it back to him and didn't reply. I watched the surveillance footage the next day and I counted 12 1,800 shots that were not paid for. So I called him in and said, "I'm your friend, but I'm also your boss. This is the second time I've talked to you about this, and I shouldn't even have to do it once. I hope you learn from this and never come back here again."
Well,
Yep. There is really not much to this story except for the asshole's the friend and the hero is this boss is his friend and could define a line between.
Yeah, I mean, he did a really good job of not letting his friendship get in the way of his business.
Right.
While at the same time being probably more, forgiving isn't the word that I'm looking for, but more generous
Yeah. I
than
agree.
he probably should or could have been.
Yep. Yeah. This probably seems like that. I don't think this is probably his bar because he says his newest coworker. So he's
Right.
probably just the manager or the lead at the
Right.
time. But man, ripping 12 shots.
I'm not even that drunk, bro.
I'm not even
You
bro.
are that drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. You could call your mom at 2 a.m. Fuck. Or call his mom at 2 a.m. I mean, that's good for him because
God,
he knows
how
he
embarrassing would
he
that be to have your
right.
mom pick you up from work because you got too drunk?
I mean, my mom did always say if I was younger, in my younger days, if I got too drunk at a party, call her.
Right.
I've told my kids the same thing. And I was like, look, I won't get mad at you the night of
If you call me.
if you call me, but we will
Right.
have a long talk about why we got put in this predicament the next day.
Right.
Or maybe, yeah, the next day, even when you're hungover.
Yeah, because having a conversation while you're hungover is punishment.
Right, exactly. Yes, the smart thing is always to call someone, obviously. And this guy passed out within 30 seconds. And he had to drag him out to the car. Like, that's even worse.
Man, at that point, like, I mean, do you let him stay passed out at the bar? Like, how long was he passed out there? Because that's a lot. Like, that's a bad look.
Yeah, it seems probably at least about an hour because he said at 1 o'clock and
Yeah,
got his shit. And then 2 o'clock, they called his mom to come get him. So he was probably passed out for about 90 minutes, I bet. By the time mom wakes up,
that's a bad look. Like,
mhm,
I would have called her immediately.
I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to wait to see what was going to happen. Who knows? But it's just one of those things. There are some bars that will allow you to drink behind the bar, but doing shots is something completely different. Like, I get you
Yeah.
doing like one or two,
Like,
but
it's one thing if, like, your customers are buying shots or whatever, and it's another thing if you are just ripping them because you feel like you can.
and that's obviously why he Venmoed him the $50 was to pay
Right.
for those shots, but that probably didn't even really cost
I mean, it covered the bottle cost.
the bottle cost. Yeah, but like that's probably like $70 worth of shots. I'm just guessing. If $5 a pop,
Yeah.
I mean, probably more than that.
Yeah.
So 1,800 is probably about, I don't know, depending on what city, probably $8 maybe.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to justify the $50 to cover the cost, but at least he tried to pay for it. Instead of
Right.
Venmo.
I mean, it seems like everybody in this story doesn't have a lack of integrity. I just think probably this guy was young and didn't
Absolutely.
he's caught up in the bartending lifestyle where it's fun. We're here to we're here more to have fun than we are to make money, but making money is good.
Yeah, I remember Steve was telling me from the Bartenders Rant podcast, which you should go check out. Steve was telling me, I don't know if he was like on a podcast or just in person. He was telling me a story where there's 5 of them closing his bar, and 4 of them were fucking basically passed out drunk or too drunk to close. So he had to just basically sit them all down, and he had to close by himself.
Right.
You
And
know,
I mean,
every place is different for sure.
and everybody has drunken nights. Everybody
Yeah.
does things, but like I have a hard time as a person. I don't think I could do that while I was being paid. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I could have some drinks if people are buying drinks, but like I couldn't get so drunk that I couldn't function enough to do my job. That doesn't sound like where my morals would allow me to do that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So sorry, I'm just kind of reading some of the
Comments.
comments. Yep. This is just a shitty situation. Them being a friend just makes it even more fucked up. Your friend needs help and needs to find another line of work for what it is worth. And for many reasons, you did the right thing. A lot of people are just saying, yeah, you shouldn't be hiring friends. And then someone goes, I hired a friend and it worked out great. I mean, obviously it's case by case scenario. And
Yeah.
sometimes if it's the first bartending job, sometimes you don't know how people are going to react to this lifestyle.
Right. Well, and I mean, I have a hard time, especially in the hospitality industry and even the industry I work in, where you spend so much time with these people and it's like you form trauma bonds. So
Mhm.
even if you don't hire friends, they become your friends.
Right.
So may as well hire people that you like to be around.
You know, that's kind of true because some of my lifelong friends now I met while in this industry. But I also think it's kind of different though. Like if I was to hire, I don't really want to call any of my friends out because not saying they would, but there's be bad scenarios. But if I had a
Right.
friend that never bartended before, or I've never worked with him before, You know, it's like you don't really know how they're
Do
going to
you
work out.
have any friends you've never worked with?
Yeah. Sean,
I'm kidding.
you? No, we work together.
Yeah.
Um, no, but like you just in this environment, but like me with Jet and Isaac, like we all worked together and
Right.
like formed this over this job, you know. So I don't know.
Right.
It's like the same thing. Like you don't want to live with your friends
Right.
because it's
But, like, at the same time, at least in my line of work, where if I think you have the temperament for it, I'm
yeah,
gonna recommend you apply.
yeah,
So, like, I mean, you're not gonna wanna hire every friend, but if you
right,
think that your friends are a good fit for the industry, then may as well have them work for you, especially when everybody's looking for work right now, or
yeah,
everybody's looking for staff right now.
yeah. No, I get that. I guess just the specific bartending
Right.
world because I'm not saying this just this role. I know friends take advantage of other friends for jobs
Yeah.
and things work out perfectly fine. I just think this is a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your boundaries and your
Uh-huh.
relationship with your friend,
Yeah.
and if you trust your friend to do their job. And obviously, this friend didn't have the character that was
Needed.
needed or expected.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah,
Which sometimes you're gonna get burned, sometimes you're gonna get
yeah,
lucky,
you just have to
and
roll the dice sometimes. And you know
yep.
what? And you know, someone said like this isn't his line of work. You look, maybe the guy's going through a shitty time of his life, you know.
Or maybe the kid just turned 21 and
Yeah.
is learning how to be an adult.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely sometimes I got too drunk out of work, you know,
Right.
and I think I've managed those situations, you know, and still believe I can still do my job, you know, at the level it needs to be without drinking like that on the job too. So
Right.
sometimes it just, I don't know. Like I'm not trying to commend what this guy's doing, but it's also like maybe he's just going through the stuff. I mean, I took a 3-year hiatus
Right.
because it was just not drinking on the job, but just drinking in general was getting crazy out of control.
Yeah, yeah, especially this industry is rough.
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes you just need a break. I took 3 years. It was a great break. And now here we are
Right.
making shit happen, creating content for your fucking ears, people. We appreciate
That
you
was
listening.
aggressive.
I know, super aggressive. You know, sometimes you just got to be aggressive. Sometimes I'm just feeling it.
Yeah.
You know, last time we recorded, I was a fucking hot mess and just all over the place. A little bit better today,
That's good.
just for this podcast, though. So, if you have a story similar to this or something that you want to share, it could be a or actually, we have to rate this fucking story. We have
Yes,
not
we do.
rated it. I would say it's not super common where you got to fire your friend. I know, at least for me, I don't think I've ever had to fire a friend. I knew one of my friends was going to get fired because it doesn't matter why, but I knew he was going to get fired, so I wasn't allowed to tell him he was going to get fired.
Right.
But I would say this is a 2-4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 too.
Yeah.
It's nothing exceptional, but I mean there are compounding factors that make it a little bit more abnormal than the
Right.
everyday
That's
drunk on
kind of
the
why I
job
went over
story,
too. Yeah. The guy handled it seemed very professionally. His
which is partially unheard of.
Yep. And it seemed like his friend didn't like really retaliate at all.
Right.
You know, when they met up and he said, I
Right.
can't have you here more. If the friend retaliated,
He would have
he
mentioned
mentioned it. Like he
Yeah.
fucking threw a fit. And
Right.
obviously he threw a fit when he was drunk because no one likes being told that they're too drunk when they're drunk.
Right.
That's one of those like, oh, I'm not too drunk. Fuck you.
Fuck you, I'm not drunk. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I can still drive. No, you can't.
So if you have a story like this, something similar, something different, if it's a 1, if it's a 3, if it's a 5, we want to hear it. So whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on or on YouTube, we have a subreddit. Do you want to start a tab? Link is in the description on there. And we'd love to hear your story.
If you would rather tell your story
verbally, give us a call. We have a phone number 563-277-0072. You can give us a call, leave us up to a 3-minute version of your story, and we'd love to play it on the air and talk about that. Use a fake name. I don't give a shit. And so, yeah. And on that note, got a story for us, Riley?
I do. It was posted 10 years ago
Oh, shit. You
by
were a fucking baby 10 years ago.
I was not legally able. No, yeah, I was.
Yeah, go
I was legally able to drink. Posted by Disco Bigwig.
Disco Bigwig?
Yes,
That's
that
great.
username is great. And it says, or is called, "Don't tip me, don't get laid."
Okay.
It's from the subreddit Petty Revenge. So I work as a bartender at a smaller bar in downtown Minneapolis. It is considered standard for the servers to tip me out at the end of their shift based on a percentage of their tips in order to compensate me for the time I spend making drinks for their customers. Most of the servers are good for giving me 10% of their tips when they are having their free shift drink, allowed one real drink or domestic tap per shift. But there is a guy who never tips back. It's not technically required. The same guy, let's call him B, also feels entitled to all the free booze he wants. Actually, a lot of people do, and some of the bartenders will actually give them free booze all night. I don't usually, but sometimes I do give them an extra drink or two if they had a slow shift. So fast forward to last night, I made somewhere between 75 and 100 drinks for this server while having a slower night at the bar. It was nice and people wanted to sit at the patio. I knew he must have made at least $200 based on the food and drinks he was selling. His shift was nearing an end, and a cute girl he was trying to impress came in to wait for him to get off.
Uh-oh.
He comes behind the bar, a big no-no, and tells her that her drinks are on him, then tells me that she can have his shift drinks. Turns back to her and suggests she order an expensive microbrew, and she does. Here's where the revenge part starts. I know he isn't going to tip me out for the drinks I made for him during his shift, and it seems he is expecting me to just give her beers. So I start a tab under his name for the craft beers. She has several more, and he gets off and asks for a rail whiskey with ginger ale, which he would only order as a shift drink, otherwise he would drink top shelf. While I did give him his deserved shift drink, they eventually rang up a $50 tab. And when I reminded him to take care of the tab before they left and presented him with the bill, he gave me a look like, what the fuck, man? They studied the bill, and I explained the shift drink rules. He continues to argue that he should get at least 2 shift drinks, and I remind him that he only ordered 1 drink that could have qualified, the rail whiskey, and reminded him of the rules. While he did pay his tab, it was grudgingly, and he left no tip. She ended up paying for all her own drinks and left a great tip and left without him. I saw him trying to pick up sleazy girls for the rest of the night with no success. He was too drunk by then. Tipping goes a long way in the service industry. Don't tip me, don't get laid.
Oh, wow. That's where do we want to start?
Where do we want to start? If you are a server and you are having a bartender make drinks for you, you should tip them out.
So that is standard because they're taking their time away from possible guests at the bar and whatever to make you drinks. And I'm pretty sure it's a standard no matter what.
Right.
What I'm surprised is this is just going to go back to what I always talk about is why is there not a manager involved that like fills out a sheet of paper and then just deducts it automatically from the credit card tips so then they're automatically getting tipped out no matter what.
Right.
Unless they show the manager that they're giving them cash
Right.
and they accept that. Why are they what like it's just it seems like from this story that there is just a blatantly trust factor in this.
Yeah, there's a very poor it's a poorly run system.
Right. Like why haven't the bartender said, "Hey, Mike, we'll call him Mike. We'll call the
Right.
sleazy guy Mike. Mike doesn't tip us out." Then the manager should go to Mike. Like you have to tip them out. That's part of
Right.
it. Like I'm always like, I
Well,
mean,
and
unless
he
there's
said it's considered standard to tip out at the end of their shift, but it doesn't sound like that it's required.
maybe this is, I guess I've never worked, but again, I've only bartended in Eastern Iowa and now Western small city.
Oh yeah, it says but there is a guy who never tips back. It's not technically required.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And
But
he,
yeah, I think that's a very poorly run system. I think
yeah.
is what that comes down to.
And he made you 75 to 100 drinks. One guy made you 70. I made you
Right.
75 to 100 drinks.
Right. Or
And the
like even the bar made you that many drinks.
Mm.
First of all, is that an exaggeration?
Seems like it might.
I mean, unless you're counting every bottle of beer you opened
I
also.
think so too.
But I mean, still, that's a lot of time.
I mean, if he's saying high end micro beer, those are I'm assuming $8 to $10 a pop.
Right. Well, because he said I made at least 100 drinks, and he had to have made at least $200 based on the food and drink he was selling. So I think he's exaggerating.
Yeah, because I would be way more than
Yeah.
if yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. They're but still the
Yeah, emotions run high, and you exaggerate some, you don't. But either way, he was a prick for not tipping out.
But it is hilarious that he started a tab and then the dick makes his date or the girl come to see him pay for her own fucking
I
tab.
want to know how that went down because if it were me and
I told you to come visit me.
uh-huh,
I said, hey, come stop by. And I look at the bartender like her drinks are on me. And you hear me say that to that
uh-huh,
bartender.
and then I hear you start throwing a fit about the bill,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pay my tab and I'm gonna leave
That,
because
okay.
as we have discussed previously, a lot of people view drinks as sexual currency.
Okay. Yep.
So in that situation, I am just not putting myself on the line for that. Like I'm gonna take care of my drinks and I'm gonna dip because I don't want you to think I owe you.
I can definitely see that in this scenario because if he's bitching about paying for your drinks and he just wanted to get you drunk for free,
Right.
you know he's like trying to do something. Like,
Well, that and it's like, okay, you told me to come here so I can get drunk for free. Then, like, what what am I worth to you?
right.
Like, I don't expect you to buy me drinks, but like, if you invited me here and you told me you were gonna pay for my
Yeah.
drinks, and now you're pulling this,
Right.
like, what kind of character do you have?
Right. Very true. I didn't make you pay for the drinks you came and saw me at Winifred's, did I?
No.
Boys and girls, and that's how you get laid. No wife.
Anyway.
Anywho, there's an owl in here.
Anywho.
Anywho, yeah. Dad jokes.
That was a bad one.
That's exactly what a dad joke's supposed to be.
Some of them are good though.
Okay. Bartender handled it great.
Yeah.
Bartender did exactly what he's supposed to do.
I mean, other than talk to a manager, which you would.
I think, yeah, I guess if it wasn't required, then it doesn't really matter at that point.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah, I just don't know how you. Again, I guess I just never been put in that environment to where it's optional to tip out the bartender.
Right.
But guess what? If I tip this motherfucker out, guess what? He's gonna give me free. He's gonna give me free ship drinks.
Right. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, yes, is giving away free drinks theft and shouldn't be done? Absolutely. However, the restaurant industry, especially the workers in the hospitality industry, operate on a scratch my back and I'll scratch yours basis.
Absolutely.
And ain't nobody's back was getting scratched in this story.
No, not at all.
No back scratching,
No
sir.
back scratching. So then the guy's hitting on sleazy girls for the rest of the night. So this must be kind of some kind of like, not a club, because he said there's a patio and there's food, but it's also like
It's
one
like
of
a
those.
sports bar. It's got to be
It's
like
gotta
a.
be
It's
something
got
like
to
that,
be
right? Where like
yeah.
it kind of like throughout the night, it kind of gets a little bit more rowdy.
Yeah,
and
this gives me Buffalo Wild Wings vibes.
that, or remember that bar that we were going to go to after the drink competition this year? We went there and it was fucking packed as fuck.
Yeah, Wellman's.
And then
in
we're
Des-
like, we're not going to be here.
Yeah.
That's probably that type of place.
Yeah, it gives me sports bar vibes.
Yeah.
For sure. Like
Ugh.
this is a Buffalo Wild Wings situation.
What's the rating on this bad boy?
People trying to take advantage of servers bitching about not tipping out or about tipping out or not tipping out when they should be not abnormal. That component is a 1. Expecting more drinks for your shifty, that's another 1. But then like the bartender taking revenge and seeing his quote unquote date, because I don't even know if you could consider it that, walk out and pay her own tab.
Yeah.
2.8.
I was gonna go about the same thing. I was like, it's not a 3, but it's a little bit more than 2.5.
I mean, I could justify a 3, but
Yeah.
I don't think I want to.
Yeah, the girl walking out and then the guy not getting any, trying to like, you know, be a little player at the end of the night. You know, and the bartender starting the tab and, you know, like, look, man, these are the rules.
Right.
Guess what? You're not gonna keep fighting me on this because guess what? I'm gonna call a manager. The manager's gonna say you get 1.
Right. And you don't get to and it's well or it's domestic, which I mean, to be fair, that's a really shitty shifty policy. But I mean, I understand it. I just remember working at the Mexican restaurant and you got 1 drink and it didn't matter what the drink was. So you get a fishbowl margarita, 64 ounces of margarita for your shift drink.
Right. Well, at Seven Hills, when the Moscow Mule ginger beer was like 11%, that was the shift drink everyone got because it was 11%.
Right.
People like, I don't even like this, but it's 11%.
It's 2 beers right now.
It's 3 beers depending on which fucking brewery you're drinking. But yeah, let's do the same score, 2.8, because kind of same thing, and it's just a little underlying story, just kind of like tweak it just a little bit nicer.
Right.
A little bit. Mwah.
Right.
So
I liked that story. I think it was a good one. And I mean, on that note, going to a restaurant or a bar with a potential significant other, I think is one of the best litmus tests for is this person's character going to be what I need it to be
Like, what do you mean?
for my own,
Explain.
like, do they treat their server
Mm,
well? Do they tip well? Do
right.
they treat people in general with respect? And this guy obviously failed the test.
Yeah.
Like,
He's screaming. He has a couple buttons open on his shirt. He's got like a fake gold chain. Some, like just,
right.
probably not. I don't like, sorry if that's how you look and
No, but
I'm just
like,
being stupid. Sorry.
but no, that's just like you showed your true colors,
Hmm.
and now I don't need to further this. And I feel like that's one of the going to a restaurant or a bar with somebody
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
is one of the best ways to.
I would say that, yeah, but also maybe with a group of people, like I'm saying, like if you go like with 4 or 5 people,
Yeah,
because sometimes like things just, when it's just like, if it's just you and I'm not saying like you and me right now, but like if
right,
it's just you and me and it's our first date, my things might be a little bit different. But like if it's a group of you, like around one of your boys or one of your girls, like you're getting
right.
drunk and you're letting like your true emotions show up. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
absolutely.
this is how this fucking person acts all the time. Jesus fucking Christ.
Right. Let me
Yeah.
just dip right
Let me
quick.
dip. I gotta go take a leak, but I only take leaks in my house. See
Right.
you later.
Sorry, my dog just called. I gotta go.
You would say some dumb shit like that too. And I'm like, oh, you got a dog? Let's go feed him. How scrappy.
Doesn't like people.
Doesn't like your people. Don't be a dick. Tip your bartenders and drink responsibly.